This is going to be a spoiler review for Spider-Man No Way Home. The reason why I didn't want to do a regular review is that I usually do movie reviews to sway people into watching or not watching a movie, but this is one of those large movies where you either watch it or you don't, so there's no point in making a video trying to sway people to watch it. You're either going to watch this movie or you're not, so as a warning, this is a spoiler review. So I'm going to start off with my rating. I'm going to give Spider-Man No Way Home a 7.5 out of 10. I thought it was a pretty good movie, but it didn't blow me away. I don't know if it's just like I'm a tough critic or my jaded heart, but the movie, it was okay. It didn't blow me out of the way. My jaw, did drop a few times during the movie, but overall it was just okay. Now let's get into Peter Parker is now doxxed. They're borrowing elements from the comics for this storyline, mainly the Civil War arc in which Peter reveals his identity and has to deal with the fallout of having everyone in New York City know who he is and the world. And also Brand New Day, in which he makes a deal with Mephisto to redo everything. So Peter, is finding his life a lot more complicated now that he has to apply for college and go to school. There are people that believe Mysterio. There are people that believe him. He's got fans and haters, and obviously the biggest hater of all is J. Jonah Jameson, who is criminally underused in this movie. He only has like 3 or 4 scenes. He's not really like a force in this movie. He's just sort of like background noise, exposition character, which was kind of wasteful. But overall, the main sort of draw of this movie was all of the villains from previous versions. Because Peter does a spell with Doctor Strange and it goes wrong, visitors from other universes are trying to find Peter Parker when he was supposed to try to make people forget who Peter Parker was. So while he's trying to get in contact with a lady to get them to reconsider rejecting them into MIT, he gets attacked by Dr. Octopus on a highway. And then he quickly gets taken out before he gets attacked by the Green Goblin. 2 characters from the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man universe. So obviously, I forgot about Charlie Cox being in the movie, to be honest. So just like when he showed up, I was just like, what? It was a very short cameo, but very fun. And then when all the characters come in, there's a weird sort of sense of humor that I didn't like. It was very tongue-in-cheek, where like I think it was Sandman and Electro are like, what happened to you? And he's like, I fell into a vat of eels, and he's like, I fell into a vat of like sand, and then you gotta be careful. And it was very tongue-in-cheek, and then they mentioned that a few more times each, like their origins, and it's just, I didn't like that sort of tongue-in-cheek humor. I understand that, it's a big stretch to be like, whoa, magic portals, multiple universes. But we've already seen this element done into the Spider-Verse with more emotional moments too, with Kingpin trying to create the thing. That movie was like a comic book brought to life, and it had multiple characters. You had like Miles, you had 2 Peter Parkers. One of them dies at the beginning, so it raises up the stakes. Aunt May dies in this one, but it doesn't really do much. And then Spider-Verse also introduces like 5 new Spider characters, right? You got like the schlubby Peter Parker, Gwen, Penny, Spider-Man Noir, and Spider-Ham. And it manages to balance all of them as well. This movie has a pretty hard narrative juggle as well, because you're introducing 5 villains. I don't know why they didn't get 6. It should have been 6. I don't know if Topher Grace said no, or they just couldn't fit in the Venom from Tobey Maguire's universe. But it was weird having 5 villains there. Because Dr. Octopus, Green Goblin, and Electro get a lot more development than Sandman and Lizard, for starters. And, this could have been their shot to do Sinister Six, but I guess they couldn't get him, or it wouldn't have fit narratively. Yeah, I thought the story wasn't really up to par as Into the Spider-Verse. The whole, we need to save the villains thing, it just didn't seem very, I don't know, it just didn't seem very urgent. When the movie could have ended by going like this and hitting the button, yeah, then it would, the action scenes were pretty good too. There's like the Dr. Octopus fight with Spider-Man, Spider-Man versus Doctor Strange, the finale. I think the biggest surprise was that there was rumors that there wasn't going to be 3 Spider-Mans in this movie. So when we're at Ned's house and he does the whole portal thing, my audience freaking whooped so hard when Andrew Garfield came in. And then, honestly, I felt that Tobey Maguire showing up was a little underwhelming because it almost felt like he was being held at gunpoint the whole movie. So I did a little digging. Back in the day, Tobey Maguire made a lot of money with the Spider-Man movies. I think for the last Spider-Man movie, he was paid $17.5 million. He got like 14 for the second one and like 3 for the first or something like that. So he's worth $75 million. So how do you convince someone worth that much to come back and do a movie reappearance that it's been like 13 years since the last one, and like it seemed like he wasn't into it. It was really weird. But Andrew Garfield, he only got paid $500,000 for Spider-Man 1 for him, and then $1 million for Spider-Man 2. So they both got $1 million to reprise their roles as Spider-Man, Peter Parker in this movie. But Andrew Garfield is giving it his all. He was like the best part of the movie. He was like, he had his whole arc, the whole not saving Gwen thing, and then when he saves MJ, it was just like a really powerful emotional moment that just completely overshadowed Tobey Maguire's character. They should have done a little bit more with Tobey Maguire. They should have made him like maybe like be a retired Spider-Man, or like an older Spider-Man with a kid or something. And they didn't really hint at that. They hinted that he's still with MJ, but you could tell that, I don't know, he seemed a little off. And sometimes it looked like his face was CGI'd on someone else's body. So I don't know if they did that or they had to de-age him or something. They should have just, because like, it was pretty, honestly, the scene at Ned's house where he does the sling ring thing, and then Andrew Garfield shows up, everyone was like, woo, and then everyone whooped again when Tobey Maguire came through, but it just looked so casual. He's just like walking down the street in like a t-shirt and hoodie, and he's like, oh, whoops. It almost felt like one of those Tobey Maguire memes where they put him in other stuff. And I'm glad the movie didn't go too far with the memes, because the memes are really big on the internet. Videos, pictures. I'm something of a scientist myself, got a really good reaction. But I'm glad they didn't go too hard on that. I definitely like the chemistry between the 3 Spider-Men as they are doing stuff in the lab, and the whole emotional Aunt May rooftop scene, and then the final battle was a little bit, they kept taking off their masks, and it was really awkward. And I can understand why Willem Dafoe didn't want to wear his mask, because obviously it would look really inconspicuous walking around with a giant green goblin mask. But I thought he was really good. Him and Alfred Molina did a really great job in their villain roles. So did Jamie Foxx. But yeah, it was sometimes a little distracting. It's a monumental thing to bring back all these different characters from different properties now that Disney owns them all. But it felt a little distracting, and the story wasn't 100%. It was, good but not great in my opinion. The ending was pretty good too. It was like, a sort of return to form. Spider-Man's like poor, living in a shitty apartment with no one to help him, sewing his own suit, no materials. He's becoming his own man. It's almost like this film was like his origin. This whole trilogy was his origin story, with him losing Aunt May in this movie, and no one remembers who he is either. So a bit very, very emotional stuff. I also liked how MJ and him were dating in this one, so she gets more to do, because she didn't really have much to do in the first movie because he's dating a different girl. And then in the second movie, she just finds out they're not really dating yet. So this is the movie where they finally get that payoff of them dating and stuff like that. And same with Ned. He had some good funny moments. There might have been too much humor in the movie, but overall, Spider-Man No Way Home, I felt was a pretty good movie. Like, it was very cinematic, seeing all of it together. It's just a shame that some people were really into the return and some people were not, because Sandman and Lizard are given really nothing to do, really, at all. And same goes for Toby. He's kind of there. They have some meta humor in there, like, my back, but it's just, I felt like they could have done a little bit more in the finale, but whatever. No Venom. So there's also, the final credit sequence, let's see, there's one after the credits, which was just Venom messing about in a bar. And then there's the final thing at the end, which is just a teaser for Doctor Strange. I'll watch that one. I haven't really been watching the Marvel TV shows on Disney Plus, but I've watched all the movies, and I'm slowly losing, interest in the MCU. But overall, yeah, Spider-Man No Way Home, it's a 2.5-hour movie, but it didn't feel like it. It went by really, really quickly. Good acting, good action sequences, especially Green Goblin just going at it. He's the most dangerous of them all. And yeah, it's a bit of nostalgia bait. It's like a fanfic movie brought to life, but done in a competent way. So I give Spider-Man No Way Home a 7.5 out of 10.